For more on this, we're now joined by Professor Bheki Mngomezulu, Director of Center for the Advancement of Non-Racialism and Democracy at Nelson Mandela University. And Professor joins us via our telephone line. Professor, thank you so much for joining us this evening here on SABC News. I mean, just looking at that insert in which we saw the ANC marking its 112th celebration in Mbombela in Mpumalanga. What are your biggest takeaways from this year's January 8th statement? I mean, the president of the ANC spending much of today emphasizing on the 30 years of the ANC in government and some of the achievements it has managed over the past couple of years.
Thank you very much, my sister, for having me, and good evening to you, your partners there, and then, of course, the viewers. Let me start off by sending a word of condolence to the families of those who perished on their way from Limpopo to Mpumalanga to attend the 112th anniversary of the ANC. May their souls rest in peace. To answer your question, there are quite a number of issues that the President touched in his address, but in the main, he took a defensive stance against the opposition political parties and the new splinter parties that have come to the fray. And as you are speaking, I had in mind the NK, which is giving everyone sleepless nights. So I thought that he felt that it was necessary for him to tell the ANC supporters that despite the fact that there are so many political parties, over 600 to be exact, that are currently registered and still counting, and then he says the ANC will still emerge victorious. As a politician, he has to say that. And as a politician, he has to make people believe that the ANC will get an outright majority. But the reality on the ground points a different direction, whereby we are not likely to find to have an outright winner. And in a way, the president tacitly admitted that this is the reality when he talked about coalitions and how dangerous they are. Yeah. I totally agree with him on that one, because coalitions in the South African context, African context in general, are not sustainable. They are established for ill intentions, and in the main, their intentions are to achieve temporal goals. Going forward, they don't achieve anything. The other thing, of course, was this strategy of 10,000 police. I don't think that is a sustainable move, because if people have jobs, we are more likely to reduce crime significantly. So they should have a focus on job creation as opposed to increasing the number of police. Lastly, on the issue of social grants, the president was happy with the fact that the president has raised the number of, but I don't think that is a good approach too. All you need is to create space to make investments for their own, and they are going to earn more than this transportation. But in the interim, it is okay, because the people currently don't have jobs. Then, of course, as a temporary measure, we can applaud that. But in the main, I don't think we can sustain this going forward.
And Professor, you've touched on a lot of aspects dealing with the President's speech a bit earlier on today, and I want to zoom in to the first part of it, where he was dealing with the achievements of the ANC government. And you quite also pointed out there the issues around social grant, something that he highlighted, also highlighting the issue of housing, saying that, as the ANC government, they have given the access to housing to many South Africans, and, the provisions of water at the same time. But looking at this statement, and of course, as we head into the 2024 elections, do you think that, much of today will be used in the ANC's manifesto, especially with its president highlighting the achievements of the ANC government?
Absolutely, my sister. The president started giving us some hints as to what the manifesto of for this year's election will focus on. Specifically, touching on some of the achievements made, starting with the one in government, where he correctly pointed out that under apartheid, women constituted only around 10%, and now they are around 45%. While this is an achievement, we are not where we are supposed to be. Because in terms of the ANC's own policy, we are supposed to have reached 50-50 gender representation now, but we are not there yet. We have made strides in achieving that goal. We are getting closer to 50%. On the issue of housing, it's also correct that we started building houses for people, something that was not possible before. In fact, most of the points that the president was making are factually correct. But what he's supposed to have emphasized is that the reason why we're not where we're supposed to be is because there is no monitoring and evaluation. We have good policies, we have a good constitution, we have legislation, everything is positive. But the only thing missing is the implementation part and the evaluation part. If we can monitor and evaluate what we do and what we have on paper, this country will be much, much better than it currently is. Then, of course, the common enemy, corruption, that is indeed taking us steps backwards because we're able to achieve our goals because some of the money that is supposed to be coming ends up in the pocket of the selected few, members of parliament.
And Professor, something that you touched on a bit earlier on in your first comment, earlier on, is the issue around splinter groups and breakaways of the ANC. Quite notable as well was when the president of the ANC started off with his speech, and he said something along the lines of the real MK veterans, and that's something that you've touched on, of course, dealing with issues from his predecessor, former President Jacob Zuma. Why do you think that the ANC has failed to address or rather deal with former President Jacob Zuma, because this is an election year, and one would even take it a bit far and say that this will be damaging to the ANC?
My sister, the issue of former President Zuma is not a child's play. When you focus on that issue, you have to apply your mind assiduously and then avoid making reckless statements like we've had recently, especially with the edge of the party, making some reckless statements. This is a very serious matter, and we would not have come to this point if the leadership of the ANC had listened to some of the comments we were making. We've tried our level best to question the ANC, telling that there are certain things that we do differently, but they didn't listen. And the outcome is what we're talking about now. There's establishment of the MK. Had the ANC listened to the comments we were making and advices we were providing, we wouldn't be where we are right now. I personally, I conducted research in my home area in Ngwavuma, in far northern KwaZulu-Natal, looking at the plight of the former MK members and former APLA members who are now destitute. And I compiled the report and made clear recommendations as to what needs to be done in order to show that the families of those cadres are taken care of. But nothing is happening. People who never raised a finger during the liberation again are the ones who are benefiting, and those who are supposed to be benefiting are left out there in the court. Then, of course, we know that they didn't join the struggle because they wanted to benefit, but money is now available, so we might as well also assist them because they also have families to take care of. Now, with the MK specifically, I don't think that politicians in general and the leadership of the ANC in particular are doing justice to this issue. Because instead of talking about this issue in the media the way they do, they should be addressing this issue very carefully. The question we're asking about the ANC having to take action against former President Zuma is a very critical one. On the one hand, they have to implement the constitution of the ANC, but because in the past they failed to implement Section 25 of the Constitution correctly. A case in point is that Mngomezulu, who was suspended as the SG of the party, but was never suspended as a member of the ANC. Only to be told that within 7 days, he must tell the executive why he should not be expelled. That was not in line with the Constitution. So basically there are a number of things. And if they do expel him, that will also be a recipe for disaster. So acting and not acting will not help the ANC on this one. I don't know how they're going to handle this matter.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for your time this evening. That is Professor Bheki Mngomezulu, Director of the Center for the Advancement of Non-Racialism and Democracy at Nelson Mandela University.